can't believe it's already been over a month since I recorded this last video, and a lot's happened since. So I had Christmas break, so I had quite a bit of time to study, which was really nice, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But the first thing I wanted to mention was, I know I was saying in the last video that there was sort of a big weight taken off my shoulder as far as what I was going to do after school, because I've been talking to a guy around the area about going into business with him, doing big audiovisual work for corporate events and other stuff like that. But through talking to him more, we weren't able to come to terms. He was asking me to start at a pretty low equity, scale in pretty slowly, and then have to pay him to gain that equity. So it was a pretty bad deal for me, and we weren't really able to come to anything where, we were both happy. So I basically decided that I'm just gonna do that same business on my own. So the main advantage to doing it with this other guy would have been that he has a lot more equipment and he has a lot more connections, so it'll be a slower start for me. And where I'm going with that is that means that I'll have to get a corporate job, which I was sort of trying to avoid, but it's not the worst thing ever. I've been keeping in touch with the company that I did an internship for over the summer, and I know they really want me to come back. I just recently went to a hockey game with them, and I spoke to the directors and managers, and they basically said if I want a job there, that just let them know come graduation, and that they'll try and set me up with something in the finance division, which is my major. So that's really good, but there's sort of a downside to that, and it's probably pretty obvious, is that it's going to be a lot of work. 40-hour-a-week job, plus trading, plus now starting another business. It's a lot going on. And I'm not actually sure if I can do all that. I only have so much time, but I'm going to give it a shot. It's all good things. It's all things that I enjoy. Apart from probably sitting in a cubicle, but yeah. But one good thing about this corporate job is the company would allow me to work online, and that means that I could still have the chart up and sort of trade a little bit during the day, if not be able to just block off my schedule for an hour or two in the mornings and trade then. That is something that I was able to do over the summer during the internship, but I'm not sure how that's going to work with a full-time position, because an internship is obviously a little different. I'm not expected to be in all the meetings, so we'll see how that works, but that's probably what's going to happen. And I guess just another thing on that note is I did email Mac and I asked his opinion on this, and this was probably a couple months ago now, and one thing that he said was that these opportunities to work at a corporation and sort of your standard 9-to-5 job, he's like, these won't always be around, but the market always will. So he actually recommended that I take one of those jobs while I learn trading. So I'm sort of going along with what he said there. I don't know. Yeah. The next thing that I wanted to say is that I've been continuing to go through the top pick trading lectures, and I worked through the EMA, market cycle, impulse response, and always in lectures. Without getting into too much detail, there's lots of good information there, lots of new stuff, and also it's sort of bolstered some observations that I've made in the past. One of which is I noticed that lots of times whenever the market made 3 legs, that it would often reverse in a big way. And that's something that Eric actually mentioned. So it's super nice to hear him sort of confirm something that I had previously noticed. I only have one more lecture before I'm done with the static part of those. And then it goes into a section where it's reviewing the 5-minute charts. I'm not really sure what that's going to look like because I haven't actually gotten into it. And then the next section after that is the dynamic studies. So I guess the actual moving market. So excited to get there, but it's probably going to be a little bit before I actually get there. And there's one big reason for that, and that is because I've been watching a lot of videos by a YouTuber, Boomer is his name, and his YouTube handle is, I believe, Financially Free Trader or Financially Free Trading. And so what got me interested in this guy is another trader friend of mine. I might have actually mentioned him in another one of these videos. I don't know. But another trader friend of mine brought him to my attention. And basically he takes trades with signal bars that are 2 ticks or less off their extremes, or closed 2 ticks or less off their extreme, and are touching the EMA. So I decided that I would look at a sample of these trades. So I took 15 trading days from like December and November, I think, and I looked at how many trades like that worked. So ones that had signal bars that were 2 ticks or less from their extremes and touching the EMA. And I found that about 45% of them worked in that sample. And that got me thinking, okay, well, if you're already at about break even, because if you're going to 1-to-1, I don't know if I mentioned that, for 1-to-1, so 1-to-1 risk reward. So you would take the same amount of points that you were risking, basically. But that got me thinking, if you're basically at break even, because 50% win rate would have you at break even, then how hard can it be to just push you over the edge just a little bit by using chart reading? So I decided that I would put together a flashcard deck and take all of the trades from 2022 that fit that criteria. So basically I have a flashcard where it'll be the bars right leading up to a trade, and then right where it would trigger, and then the next card will be a few bars later showing if it worked out or not. So I am probably, 40-some% the way through that. I've got like 1,200 cards in there, I think. And I've just been going through about 500 of these every day to see what my win rate would be. And I'm going to go through the whole year of 2022 and do them. It'll end up being somewhere around 2,500 cards, which is it's really time consuming. It's taken a lot of time to do that, but it's pretty cool. So anyway, I've been going through 500 of those a day and just recording my win rate and what my total profitability would have been if the ATR was 4. And I found that my win rate ranges anywhere from 75% to 95%, which is well above that 50%. There's a couple things to note here, of course. First off is that I do know whether some of the trades are going to work out because I've seen them, a few times. And I also know some of them that aren't going to work out. So there is that piece there, but that's still a pretty big margin. And you'd be surprised because I actually don't know a lot of them I'll see and I think I know. I'm like, oh, I know that one works out. And then I'll flip to the next card and then it doesn't. And I'm like, oh, like I'm just falsely remembering it. I'm remembering seeing this trade, but I'm not actually remembering whether it works out or not. So that's happened quite a few times. So there is that piece. And then the other piece is the patience and emotional aspect. Of course, whenever you have real money on the line, that really affects your trading, and the patience piece of it, actually being able to sit there for hours at a time and possibly not take any trades. So that's definitely a piece of it too. But I've been trading this way for the new year, and currently I have made 7 trades and I've won all 7 of them. So not a big sample size, but that is my record for trades in a row. So far, it seems pretty promising. And where I sort of was going with that and where I came from with that is that's been taking up pretty much all my time studying, trying to get all of these flashcards in there. I mean, it'll probably take me, I don't even know, maybe another 30, 40 hours before I even get all of 2022's trades in there. And not to mention going through 500 of these a day takes me about 2 hours. But it seems like it's really helping. I mean, I think I'm getting a really good idea about this really small piece of the market. So that's sort of my idea with this is, can I just master this setup? And it seems like it's maybe possible. And I actually mentioned that I was doing this to Eric in the Top Pick Trading Forum, and he didn't really seem all that fond of it, to be honest. He said that it was basically taking the long road, and that I'd be better off just black and white following his system, basically. And he's probably right. I mean, he's traded so much longer than I have that why would I know? But I don't know, it just feels right what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to stick with it for maybe another couple months. Or I don't know. I mean, who knows? This might carry me to profitability, but I'm going to stick with it at least for another couple months. I mean, it just feels really promising. I feel, oddly enough, I feel like I'm already to a point where I could be profitable with this. And I felt this a few times now. I mean, quite a few times since I've started trading, where I think that I'm there, and I'm like, oh, you know, let me just make a few more sim trades and really prove it to myself that I can do it, and then I'll flip to live trading. Or sometimes I'll even flip to live trading. I'll go to the MES or something like that. This has happened quite a few times in the past where I really think that I'm there, and then I learn that I'm really just not. So it's definitely possible that this is another one of those scenarios, but for some reason, I just feel really good about it. So I'm going to keep this going and see where this leads. Who knows? I'll keep you guys updated. Yeah, this is a lot. I talked a lot on this one. So yeah, we'll see where this goes.